Welcome to the Crispy channel. This channel is about traditional techniques of prayer that can help to support your mental health. I'm Agnes, I studied theology, and I love to see how prayer positively impacts my own mental well-being. So therefore I'm excited to share some of these practices with you. This session is about how to find rest and peace in God. I sometimes catch myself resisting to find inner peace, although I know these techniques and I know how to make a space for rest. I noticed, especially with this technique, most interestingly, that I know I could go there, but I don't let myself enter the rest. Why is that? In my case, it is because I thought to myself, I want to achieve this and this and this, and these are long-term processes, so I don't allow myself to rest. Kind of. I discovered that in the while praying in the exercise, so it can reveal to yourself something that is hindering you to have peace in the moment. These might be completely different things than it was for me, but I just share this from my personal experience, what it did to me. And it can help you to find this restful moment in the very exercise. And then from there on, let yourself experience more peace in your everyday life. The meditation is inspired by a book about Christian meditation in clinical practice by Joshua J. Knapp. This is how the book looks. So it is not taken from there completely, but the psalm is from there, and the 4 steps are Lectio Divina, which is a medieval prayer technique, and he also uses it in his book to recommend it as a support for mental health generally. So I lean on that, but I certainly did write a completely new meditation and adapted it. The exercise works like this. I will read a psalm to you, and then we have 4 steps to go through together. This is first to listen to or to read it to yourself, the psalm, like purely the contents. Then as a second step, you will think about it, so engaging the mind. And as a third step, engaging the heart. And how would we do that? We use prayer, so we get into a communication that takes place in our heart with God about what we're experiencing, what we're feeling, and also try to listen to God. So this is where a lot of change of perspective can happen and realization about yourself. And then the 4th step is to experience the contents. So in this case, to experience rest, to find this deeper state of rest in the here and now. If you want to, you can read with me. It's taken from Psalm 62. Otherwise, I will read it to you, and you can find the words also in the caption. You can close your eyes or keep them open, however it is comfortable for you to really focus and get yourself into the psalm. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. Truly He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge. I read it again so we can really take in all the words and all the smaller parts as well. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. Truly He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge. I invite you to take a few deep breaths until your belly stretches and is fully filled with air. Three of them. So this can help you to ground yourself in the moment and fully arrive. Long exhale. In again. And long exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. If you want, you can make yourself aware that you are in the presence of a loving God. You can imagine Him smiling over you. I imagine God's loving view on me like sunshine on my skin, warming me up. I think about the words I just heard. How would my life feel and look like with a soul resting in God? At rest, would I have done some things differently? I will read the text again and think about how would my life feel like if I am stepping in this reality. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. Truly, He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge. As we continue with the second step, try to speak these words, like in the psalm, to your own soul. David spoke these words to his own soul, find rest in God. My soul, find rest in God. I speak to my soul. You can find rest in God. You can find hope in Him. There is hope in Him. My soul, you can find rest in God. You can also repeat some of the other words to yourself. There is honor in God. My honor is in God. My soul, you will not be shaken. God is my rock and my salvation. And then imagine God would speak through this text to your soul. Imagine Him saying, you can find rest in me. There is hope in me. You can be at peace. I can be your rock and your salvation. Also here you can go on with the rest of the psalm. Tell yourself, hear God saying to you, you can find rest in me. I also notice what it does to me emotionally to say these words, to feel these words. Whatever comes up is okay, whether you can feel rest at this point or you notice there is something holding you back. This is also important. As a third step, we step into a dialogue with God over the psalm. What came up? Is there something you would like to ask? Something that disrupted you or that hindered you to find or to dive into this experience of peace? Express everything that's on your mind. Also doubts. Also emotions you might consider negative. If there's anger, if there's worry, you can say anything. And then try to listen. What would he say to you? Imagine him speaking from a loving heart, from a heart full of hope and peace. What would he say to you? As a fourth step, imagine you are in this notion of peace in this very moment. Imagine you let yourself glide into God's care, into his rest. For a moment, let go of things you had on your mind and things you were holding on to. For a moment, trusting. For a moment, just being there. You can imagine you're with God in this moment and he's taking care. For a moment, completely let yourself fall into his hands, into his caretaking. To close the prayer, you can say, in your own words, thank you to God. Mentally make a note how this peace and rest felt for you, to come back at a later point to this notion of peace. And then, if you're ready, slowly open your eyes. You can stretch yourself a little bit to get out of the meditation mode. And then I invite you, before you forget everything you just learned about yourself and about God, to take a few notes. Reflect what thoughts came up, what feelings were there, what did you feel God was telling you, and how did this rest feel? And if you want, if there is something you can think of how this experience might help you in your everyday life. Is there something you want to incorporate if you feel stressed or worried that you can return to? So all the best with journaling. Thank you for staying with me till the very end. I hope you could take something from this. And goodbye. See you next time.